good morning, good afternoon, good day, and good evening. Now, I don't know what time of day it is for you, but for me, it's a good time of day. We're back at it again today, and I want to tell you guys thank you for bearing with me. My migraines have been flaring up here for about the past week. I haven't been able to do these lives and sit down and talk with you guys like we've been doing here for the last month, but I appreciate the support that you guys have been giving me. I really do appreciate that support. And if you're not on the Patreon, join the Patreon. We have some other videos that are on the Patreon that will be coming on over to YouTube, and there's some that are just going to stay on the Patreon side. So if you're not a part of the Patreon, I'm going to ask you, hop on over on the Patreon. And as a matter of fact, as we're doing this, one of the things I haven't done in a while, and I think because today we're talking about Deshaun Watson and some new things that came up in his case. I haven't given this disclaimer in a hot minute. I think it's really important that right now I give this disclaimer for you today. And what is that disclaimer that we're talking about right now? The disclaimer is that we're talking about a legal topic. And while we are talking about a legal topic, this is not, and I repeat, this is not legal advice. So with that being said, I'm going to pause for the cause also. And you don't even have to drop your drawers. You know what you want to do? You want to, just do a little, little click, click, click. We're going to see if we can make this knowledge stick in your head. And if you're enjoying what we're doing here, do me a favor. Tell a friend where you at. Let them know what we're doing over here. Let them know what I'm doing for you. So hopefully you're enjoying me, hopefully dropping some gems, helping you out, giving you that legal perspective on how things are working, specifically within some things within that sports field, but right now on this hot button deal that just happened with Deshaun Watson. So I guess the question is, what did just happen with Deshaun Watson? The interesting thing, and it looks like it has alleviated, taken a lot of pressure off of Deshaun Watson and his team at this point, is before Deshaun Watson was fighting a battle on two fronts. He was fighting on the criminal side and on the civil side. He didn't want to say anything else on the civil side, give any kind of depositions. Rusty Hart was adamant about it because they were still looking at criminal litigation.
Said all along that when the criminal investigation was completed, we would answer their questions. But nobody but an insane lawyer would ever suggest that you would let him be asking civil deposition questions or answering them while the criminal investigation is completed. This puts to bed any criminal allegations or suggestions. What they presented to the grand jury today was everybody that has made a criminal complaint. And the grand jury spoke. That's behind us.
Well, the other day, on Friday, the grand jury came back and they presented a no bill for Deshaun Watson. So they no bill Deshaun Watson, which means that criminal side is essentially gone. They can just concentrate, focus on fighting on that civil side.
Absolutely delighted with what the grand jury concluded, which is what we've been saying to everybody all along. Deshaun never committed any crime at all or did anything wrong. And as we understand it, the grand jury heard evidence based on all of the criminal complaints, all 9 of them, and returned no bills, no charges on all 9 of them.
And what does that mean? And what's the significance? I know not everybody is familiar with a grand jury. What is a grand jury? Why is it significant? What is a no bill? Basically, a grand jury here in Texas, and I'm sure that many other jurisdictions or any other states are out there where it works essentially the same way. But here in Texas, you get 12 people that are going to be impounded on the grand jury, right? And of these 12 people, they're going to sit down, they're going to be presented with information, and much like a petty jury that you have where they get the evidence that's presented at trial, and then they go and they deliberate at the end, and that's secret. The grand jury is the same thing. They're going to deliberate, their deliberations are secret. As a matter of fact, they're so secret that anybody who breaches that, there's a $500 fine, 30 days in jail that goes. So it's a secret for the deliberations, just like for the petty jury. But in addition to that, the whole proceedings for the grand jury is also secretive. It's not adversarial at all. So the prosecution presents their case, they present all their evidence, and there's no defense. Not only is there no defense, not only does the defense probably not know about it, but they don't even have a right to be there when the grand jury is present and the grand jury is being presented with information from the prosecution side.
My understanding, y'all can correct me because we weren't down there, that they heard several hours. One person in the meeting said 6 hours. I don't know whether that's true or accurate or not, but whatever they heard, citizens in Harris County had a chance to listen to evidence and make a decision.
So it's all one-sided, which is extremely significant to me because Tony Buzbee has been talking about just how guilty Deshaun Watson is, and he has 22 litigants on his side that are going to be that want to be a part of this class to say, hey, Deshaun Watson has wronged us, and it's up to a criminal nature that Deshaun Watson, that we're seeking some kind of remedy from Deshaun Watson. Or when I talk about remedy, I'm talking about damages on the civil side, but they want something from Deshaun Watson at this point. And they looked at it. A grand jury was presented with information just from, if it's done like it normally is, and Rusty Hardin has more pull than most, and he might have known, he might have been able to get in there and, as his attorney, probably possibly present some information, but normally that's not how it happens. And if he doesn't present any information, and the only thing the grand jury had, the only thing that the grand jury is able to look at is what the district attorney is presenting to them or the prosecution is presenting to them, and the information they got from Tony Buzbee and his 22 litigants, all of their information, all of their evidence is presented to the grand jury, and the grand jury says, no bill. There's not enough information here to find probable cause to indict Deshaun Watson criminally. And granted, there's a different standard. There's a beyond a reasonable doubt standard for the criminal side, and then civil is either going to be preponderance of evidence normal or clear and convincing evidence, which is a little higher. But there's not enough evidence on the criminal side to indict. They always say you can indict a ham sandwich because indicting somebody is normally like the lowest bar that you're going to get on the criminal side, and they didn't have enough evidence to convince a grand jury in a one-sided affair that is not adversarial that Deshaun Watson should be prosecuted. That is huge at this point. So if you're a Deshaun Watson fan, that's huge. And there was something else though that came out of the statement when they had their media circus right afterwards. It was a statement that Rusty Hardin made that it perked my ears up. My ears jumped when I heard this. He said that Deshaun Watson would not be taking the fifth in any of the depositions that are going to be done.
I know there are more depositions scheduled for next week. What bearing does this have on the civil case, if anything? What are you looking forward to on that side of things?
We're scheduled to start depositions on Tuesday on behalf of 2 other women. He'll fully answer questions there. And he won't be taking the fifth. I have said all.
And I find that peculiar only because it makes the assumption, or it calls in the mind, that evidently either he is extremely confident that his client, that Deshaun Watson, has nothing there that he could say within a deposition that might be criminally liable in this case or any others, or similar to Bill Cosby in the Bill Cosby case, he has an agreement with the prosecutor that since they weren't able to find anything there, that he will waive his Fifth Amendment right his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and sit down and answer all questions, or he might have a immunity that's been given to him by a magistrate. So there are two other options besides just extremely confident, which is probably what it is. I don't have any inside information, but hearing him say that he will not take the fifth on any questions in the deposition is extremely bold, and it makes me think that either there is some kind of agreement that's in place that makes it so that that's going to be possible, or he's just extremely confident. So what does that mean? What does that mean for Deshaun Watson going forward? Why is that significant going forward? Well, get your popcorn ready. The NFL is going to be knocking down Deshaun Watson's door. Every team that doesn't already have a quarterback will be looking for Deshaun Watson to come in, and he has that no trade clause. So it's possible he might not go anywhere this season. He might sit for the entire season like he did last season, but I wouldn't count on it. And with that said, look, if you like what we're doing here, again, clicky, making that knowledge sticky. And with that being said, I love it. Hoping that you're having a great day. Hope everything is going great for you. If you haven't already killed it or haven't started or haven't already into it, hoping it's going to go great for you. And may you always, always, always have peace in your life. And we're out.